Hello everyone, I am back and it is such a pleasure and a privilege to be back making videos for you all. I've been gone since my senior year of high school at least, um, and a lot has happened. We're about to gain some loved ones here in the family. We have lost some loved ones, but life goes on. So, on June the 2nd, there will be a anniversary of an upcoming event that rocked the nation. Um, as a whole, especially certain people with certain pasts. And that is the verdict of the Stanford rape case with the rapist Brock Turner. I'm sorry, I had to move that. Um, so I will be making a video analyzing some things from the letter he wrote to the judge as well as his mother and father, and what I think could have been changed or bettered about this case, and why I think some things happened the way they did. So I'd just like to give you a little background. Um, about a year ago, the nation was introduced to Brock Allen Turner, the Stanford swimmer turned sexual assault perpetrator. So the background is, on the nights of January 17th into 18th of 2015, he drank heavily, interacted with a young woman who has still not been named, and I highly doubt will ever be named, and he sexually assaulted her behind a dumpster on Stanford campus. He was spotted by two foreign Swedish students, chased down, tackled, and held at the scene until police could arrive. He posted $150,000 bail, and that's about it. That's the short version. There is a timeline that I will link in the description, along with links to his letter that he wrote, his mother wrote, the victim wrote, and that's about it. So I'm just going to quickly go through things that I think are wrong, and I will recap them in the actual video. This is just like a little prelim. But one of the things is the presiding judge, Judge Aaron Persky, was an alumna of Stanford University, and I feel had he not been a former student or any other judge who had not been a student of Stanford, Brock would not have received such the light sentence that he did. There's also a point where probation officials said Brock was, and I quote, an inexperienced drinker and partygoer. This was not true, and none of these points were brought up in court. There are photos on his phone of him taking LSD and smoking marijuana. There are also photos of him smoking a pipe. He on December 27, 2014, there is a video of him smoking a bong and drinking from a liquor bottle. On December 18th, 2014, there's a text message from him saying, "Do you think I could buy some wax so we could do some dabs?" There are also other texts referencing smoking, buying, and sharing weed, as well as looking for a hookup to buy acid while he was still in high school, also at Stanford. There's also a text exchange on the 24th of December in 2014 where his friend said, "I got a hankering for a good acid trip when we get back," and Brock replied, "I'm down for sure." He also responded to a friend about candy flipping, which is taking LSD and MDMA together. LSD is a hallucinogen. It's usually associated with the term tripping, and MDMA is kind of like a cousin of ecstasy, is the best way I can describe it from what I remember in psych class. It makes you all touchy-feely, it gets your heart rate and body temperature up, and it can be very dangerous. But he said about candy flipping, and I quote, "I gotta fucking try that, I've heard it's awesome." On June 3rd, 2014, there is a text exchange between him and his sister where she says, "Did you rage last night?" He says, "Yeah, kind of. It was hard to find a place to drink, but when we finally did, we could only drink for like an hour and a half." And in 2014, he was arrested for running from the police when they discovered him and a band of friends drinking underage. And he also had a fake ID on his person. Now, there are some other things that are either not well known or just alleged, but I think they are important to point out anyway. He made lewd comments to the female Stanford swim team, and I quote, "I can see your tits in that swimsuit." An elite swimmer on the team vowed to never be alone with him at a party, and an insider said upperclassmen on the team told Brock to scale back the drinking and partying, but he did not listen. It is alleged he took pictures of the victim topless and sent them to his swim buddies using the GroupMe app. Now, the dicey thing about that app is you can delete things from it without a trace. So it's just alleged that he sent them, and his swim buddies asked whose tits are those, and it's believed one of Brock's friends deleted the incriminating evidence. So that's basically all the creepy stuff. There's also some quotes I'd like to read you that I'd just like you to keep in mind when you watch the video, because they are in fact important to this case. Finally. And I will tell you who wrote these. These are all from the letters to Judge Aaron Persky. This is the letter from Brock Allen Turner, our defendant. And I will tell you what are quotes and what are just paraphrases. And some of these quotes are taken from like longer sentences, so don't like just take them at their word. I will tell you if I can remember if they're from a longer sentence or not. But the first one is, I had never really experienced celebrating or partying with alcohol. He's talking about how he came from a small town in Ohio, I believe, so he wasn't really, in touch with the party scene. But as we can see by the rap sheet I read you, that is not entirely true. So during the day, I shake uncontrollably. He's talking about how the effects of the trial and whatnot, the effect they had on him. I wish I had the ability to go back in time and never pick up a drink that night, let alone interact with redacted. We do not know the victim's name. That basically speaks for itself. He's trying to find a way to take the blame off him and put it on, the alcohol or the victim herself. Next is, they torture me. He's talking about the thoughts, the dreams he's having because of this. He forever broken from this, also talking about what the case is like for him. I wish I was never good at swimming or had the opportunity to go to Stanford, so maybe the newspapers wouldn't want to write stories about me. Once again, trying to pin himself as the victim here, as the one who is suffering the most trauma and the very lasting effects of sexual assault. I know that if I were placed on probation, that is taken from pleas about how he'd be such a wonderful thing to society if he got probation, and how he'd educate people, etc., etc. And we know probation did not happen. He was, in fact, incarcerated. Peer pressure, just peer pressure. He mentions peer pressure. Doesn't mention anything wrong that he did. The culture surrounded by binge drinking and sexual promiscuity. Once again, we are blaming the substance and anyone other than the perpetrator. If I were to be placed on probation, once again asking for probation, and was not given it, he was incarcerated. He sacrificed everything. This isn't the initial video, remember, I'm going to come back to all this. Next, we have his mother. And I quote, "I have not decorated the house, nor have I hung anything on the walls." That is from a longer statement in her letter to the judge. Those happy family times are gone forever. Also from a longer statement, just talking about the past. Why him? Why? Asking why her son and why this happened to him. Brock told us what happened. She talks about how Brock recounted that night and what he told his parents. This verdict has destroyed us, talking about the verdict the judge gave to their son. Show mercy. She's asking the judge to show mercy in sentencing him. He has never been in trouble. Yeah, about that. Please don't send him to jail/prison. He will be damaged forever, and I fear that he would be a major target. This would be a death sentence for him. He is suffering. Next is a letter from a female friend of Brock's that was written to the judge, and this is the only quote from it because it stood out to me the most in an open letter I read. But it is, I don't think it's fair to base the fate of the next 10 plus years of his life on the decision of a girl who doesn't remember anything but the amount she drank to press charges against him. Next are quotes and phrases from his father's letter, where he wants to share some memories of his son. His son always did well on exams and was equally talented in athletics. I was always excited to buy a big ribeye steak to grill or to get his favorite snack for him. Now he barely consumes any food, needs only to exist. Incarceration is not the appropriate punishment. He has no prior criminal history and has never been violent to anyone. Committed to teaching other college-age students about the dangers of alcohol consumption and sexual promiscuity. Probation is the best answer, and the phrase that rocked the nation: a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action. So these are just things, phrases, quotes to keep in mind when I do the longer analysis and video, and I will recap everything. I will put a link to the next video down in the description once it's up. I will post links to Brock's letter, Carlene Turner's letter, Dan Turner's letter, the victim's letter, the timeline if I can find it, and the friend's letter if I can find it. So it was a pleasure presenting this to you guys, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. So I will see you soon.